Let's talk Tanya for the 13th of Kislev. Today we start a new chapter in Kuntas Achron, but this chapter really takes us back to something that we spoke about in the last chapter. In the last chapter, the Alter Rebbe talks over there about the impact we have on this world in elevating sparks when we study Torah, but specifically when we're studying about doing a mitzvah, because when we're studying about doing a mitzvah, there is that rule, which is that God considers it as if we've done the mitzvah, so whatever effect we had on this world through doing a mitzvah, we have a similar effect through studying Torah. So if you recall, the Alter Rebbe said, that is true when I'm studying about a mitzvah saseh, a positive mitzvah. I'm studying about the mitzvah of eating matzah. I'm studying about the mitzvah of blowing a shofar. I'm studying about putting up a mezuzah. So studying it as if I've done the mitzvah, so whatever elevation of sparks I accomplished through actually doing the mitzvah, I also accomplished through studying Torah. But what if I'm studying the laws of not eating chametz, the laws of not doing work on Shabbos? So that's an act of abstinence. I'm not elevating anything by not doing something. So how is it that in that case, I am able to elevate the sparks? Now, the Rebbe adds an interesting wrinkle over here. He says that we know that if I had a temptation to do a sin and I didn't do it, it's as if I did the mitzvah. So therefore, you can argue and say that those prohibitions that are common, so if I study about it, it's as if I've done it because those prohibitions, they exist, so to say. But for anyone who's familiar with the study of the Talmud or Shulchan Aruch, there's some laws over there that you're studying them. They never happen. They never will happen. You have some really bizarre scenarios. The example the Alter Rebbe gives over here is of pigul. Pigul is certain thoughts that the kohen is not allowed to have, the priest is not allowed to have, while he is doing the avodah, the service in the Beis HaMikdash and bringing a sacrifice. No one ever had the temptation to do it. I'm sure it never happened, never will happen. So by studying them, how is it that I am elevating anything? So Alter Rebbe says, the Alter Rebbe gives two answers. The first answer he says is you should know every single one of the 365 negative commandments has a source in Klippa. The fact that I can do it, nothing exists in the world that doesn't have a spiritual source. Now, obviously, every single sin has a source in the Klippa. So even if no one ever did it, no one ever will have a temptation to do it, and never happened, never will happen, it doesn't change the fact that this possibility has a source in Klippa. When I am studying the halachos, the laws that pertain to this prohibition, I am thereby somehow elevating that Klippa, which is the source of this law. That's number one. Number two, the Alter Rebbe says that we know every single one of the mitzvahs of the Torah is another channel of light that enters this world. So we have 613 mitzvahs, 613 channels of light. Now we know Klippa is parasitic, which means that Klippa, it's always trying to leech energy off of holiness. And where does it get its holiness from? As we explained, there are 613 different channels, so it needs to try to leech off of one of them. However, when a Jewish person studies Torah, what we do is we're actually bringing a higher and greater light into Torah than what it naturally has. Which is why we talk about the idea of Beruchu ba'Torah, which means that we bless the Torah. We're actually, when we learn Torah, we're bringing the infinite light of God into Torah, even though there is light, obviously, in the Torah, but even a greater and higher level. When we bring that greater and higher level of light into Torah, that makes that Klippa unable to leech off and to receive any of the energy which comes into this world through the Torah. So therefore, yes, we're having an impact on this world. We are elevating the Klippa, or so to say, killing the Klippa and releasing the sparks from the Klippa every time that we're studying Torah, even if we're studying about something which never happened, never will happen. The very fact that we're studying the Torah brings this light into the Torah, which makes that the Klippas should not be able to receive nourishment from this divine energy. That is this chapter. Tomorrow we start another chapter. Tomorrow's chapter will be a little more about the nature of the Torah that we learn.